you're not going to win every single customer, but
Where would you say you have the most success locally?
where I spend my most money is,
How do you show a customer that your price is worth it?
oh man.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Roofer2Roofer show. Thanks for hanging in there. We are running just a little bit behind schedule today as we wait for our second panelist to join. However, Mr. Starry is here with Steadfast Roofing here in Tampa, Florida, and he's ready to answer just about any question you could think of. So feel free to pop those over into the Q&A here. And it can be about anything big or small, but I'll kind of run through our list of questions here and we'll go from there.
We should totally throw people off one of these days, Allie, and just do one like in person.
I don't think that people can handle it. You know what I mean?
We were just at our Tampa office earlier.
And you didn't invite me.
Had a big old team meeting. It was amazing. Gave them their Carhartt hoodies and their Ray-Ban glasses for Christmas.
This is huge.
And then we're doing a big old paintball sesh after the beginning of the year.
Wow. I can't wait. I'm excited to be there. All right. How do you show a customer that your price is worth it?
Oh, man. Well, number one, I mean, you don't want to touch on price just at the end of a conversation, you know? I mean, you want to like kind of price condition them all throughout, you know? In that initial walk around with them, like pointing out things, asking them questions, you know? And then, you know, before they walk in, before you start doing your estimating and things, you know, just asking them like, hey, what do you think something like this is going to cost? You know, get a number in their head, get them thinking about that a little bit, you know? And then, you know, show them all the different parts of what it takes to actually build a roof the right way. And get them off the mindset that, you know, I mean, yeah, corners could get cut and I could get a much lower price. But if I'm having to replace it in half the time, like what is the point in saving the money if I'm just going to be doing it again a lot sooner? And then if you're actually spending more time with them at their kitchen table, like getting to learn about like what makes them tick, like what interests them, like where they like to go on vacay, like asking about their kids, asking about their job, like getting to learn about them and taking the whole premise of the whole conversation off of selling a roof to somebody. I mean, you can just turn that into a big old conversation and then price doesn't really matter at that point, you know?
No, I love that. It sounds like you spend probably a little bit more time in the beginning kind of building that connection with the customer, which hopefully will lead to less sales resistance as you kind of move out through that process. So I love that.
That's the hope, but it's gotten a bit more trying here as of late. But
Yeah, heard that. All you can do is all you can do. We did have a hand raised from a member in the audience, Dan. So I'm going to go ahead and click this button here that will allow you to speak and ask your question. Never done this before on this episode, so let's see what that looks like. All right, Dan, the floor is yours. What would you like to ask?
Oh, that was actually a mistake. I was just clicking around. Sorry about that.
Well, we're happy to have you, Dan. If you think of anything, just let us know.
Dan, I was going to compliment your name. It sounds like such a strong, like impactful name. And then just let me down like that, man.
Hey, I do have one question. Is this more for residential or commercial roofing or both?
So Scott and I both do a little bit of both. Residential's pretty much our bread and butter, though.
Okay.
What do you do, Dan?
Work.
You mortal.
Yeah.
You're more commercial?
Only commercial. Yeah.
Only commercial. Awesome.
Yeah.
Good stuff. We're happy to have you, Dan. If you do have something that pops up, just use that same button again and Mr. Starry will be on it.
Okay, great. Thanks.
Awesome. Appreciate it.
Try to go easy on me on the commercial stuff, though.
Yeah, right. Throw what you know, okay?
That's right.
How do you handle customers who are slow to make decisions?
wh- what does slow look like? Because I think everybody's time frames are going to be a little bit different from like what slow is, you know? I mean, we've had people come back to us after 2 years. Um, you know, that and the downside to all that is like the longer and longer you kick the can down the road, the worse and worse the situation is actually going to get. Like it's not something that's going to just like self heal, you know? So I think if you do your job in building the appropriate amount of urgency up front, you show them the issues of how things currently are, and then you build that urgency as far as why that needs to get resolved right away, you're going to really shorten up your timelines as far as people making a decision. Now, typically people that do kick the can down the road don't have an urgent issue. It's just something that they know is on their radar and something that they know needs to get done before too long. Um, or it's a price thing, you know, like they can't afford it. They don't have that kind of money saved and they just wanted to get a baseline price of like how much they need to actually put into their account before they move forward, right? So um I think you can offset a lot of that time restraint with asking questions like what's your timeline on this project? What's your budget for this project? And then finding out if there's anything you can do to kind of aid with moving them from step A to step B. Um, but with the people that you really can't figure that out with, I mean, don't lose touch with them, you know? Set yourself up with a follow-up appointment after you find out what their timeline looks like. Pick up the phone and call them. And maybe their timeline is moved back or maybe it's moved up but if you're not setting that next follow-up appointment before you're out of their presence, then you're not doing it right.
Mm. Yeah, no, I see that even with my role. It's like it makes all the difference just to get them booked, get them on the calendar. A lot less resistance that way. So
Yep.
total alignment there. We did have a question from Jennifer. What happened to Scott? This is going to be a great Jon Starry question. I'm sure his imagination would run wild and tell you something insane. But we're
So
not.
one of Scott's goats got loose and he's actually trying to wrangle that thing up right now. So
We're hoping he makes it for the second half, but we'll see. Jury's out. It's a fast goat.
you, you never know. Scott is one of those mysterious creatures.
And we love him for it. And we love him for it. How do you keep leads warm when they are not yet ready?
I mean, I think we kind of touched on that one on the last one, you know. Just don't let off the gas, you know, follow up consistently, but not too frequently. Um, but I mean, just having those like periodic check-ins with people, like it lets them know that you're still there, that you still want their business, that you're still the best option they can choose whenever it comes to that project, and just don't let off the gas with them. I mean, the ones that you lose are the ones that you stop trying with. And we're not going to do that until we get a no.
I love that squeaky wheel, you know. What about your sales reps? How do you keep them consistent kind of over time?
Oh man, I actually took a really good little tip from Scott, something that he's introducing to his sales team for accountability purposes. Um, so it is part of the role of a sales rep to canvas around their builds. Just letting people know like, hey, area is going to be noisy. If anything blows over here, contact us. If you need us to move a vehicle, contact us, whatever. Um, and all too often, like the money just gets to the point where it's like so good that people start to like kind of drift away from the basics of like what got us to the point that we're at. And sometimes they need reminded as far as like the accountability that comes into doing everything that is expected and things. So one thing that we instituted is as they're canvassing, they are to be out snapping a photo of every door tag that they leave behind or any kind of like leave behind letter, mailer, whatever they do. Um, and if they have a conversation with somebody at the door, they're supposed to just jot that down in the notes because I don't want them taking a picture of somebody without their consent, you know? But them having that accountability behind them gives me a better feeling whenever it comes to assigning a company lead to them and things, you know, and I want to reward my guys and girls for, you know, self-generating leads. And they get paid a higher commission for self-generation. Like, so we've really been doing everything that we can to kind of like hold everybody accountable. Um, and we're not perfect or anything like that. If anybody does have any tips, I'd love to hear them for sure. I haven't figured it all out, but sometimes people just need reminders in regard to like, what got us to the point that we're at and how we continue to climb to that next level and that next level. And it doesn't come from hitting the brakes and drifting away from those things. It comes with adding on to what already has worked.
Makes sense to me. We do have some questions coming in here on the Q&A here. First up, how do you find talented salespeople and canvassers?
How do you find talented salespeople and canvassers? So we don't really canvas with the exception of the salespeople. And the only type of canvassing that we actually do is around projects that we're actually producing then and there. But honestly, I mean, I've been pretty blessed in regard to finding new talent and things because the good people that I do bring in, they typically have good people in their circles. I have good people in my circle. Um, and people know who we are out here. So we get contacted all the time. Like I have not ever needed to post any kind of like recruiting post or anything like that anywhere. Um, Literally, I mean, I can send a message out to my team asking if anybody knows anybody. And if not, I probably know somebody in my own network that I could actually kind of bring in to slot in that role. So I am not the best at giving recruiting advice, but if you surround yourself with good people typically surround themselves with them. So
Okay. Birds of a feather. Makes sense to me.
that's right.
What percent of your gross revenue is spent on marketing?
Oh gosh, that that can range. I know that back whenever we had more work than we could even fathom to take more on of, like we had been getting so much organic traffic and organic leads, and like our phone was just ringing off the hook. But again, we had a really catastrophic storm that came through here, and you know, people had a need. Now that the need is kind of, you know, tapered off significantly, um, I've spent up to 10% on marketing, um, on during times where we didn't have a lead issue or anything like that, or didn't really need to like go towards any kind of paid advertising. We weren't spending anything. So it ranges, but typically like on a normal day-to-day sort of like market spend, we'd typically be around 5%.
Yeah, no. Thank you. Did have another one come in. Are there any businesses practices you would avoid or feel like they're not worth the pay effort when it comes to generating leads, such as Angie's List, Handy, KVD?
So I don't pay for any kind of lead aggregate service like Angie's, Thumbtack, um, any of that stuff. And like some people have great success with that. I know that in my market it has not worked, and I have no issue competing with other contractors. It's just the quality of the leads that you typically get through aggregate services like that. Um, they're they're worse than what you could do just, doing your own like meta campaigns and meta marketing and advertising. And so, um, as far as the question about the BBB, I do keep and maintain an accredited status because, we live in an area that is surrounded by a lot of retirees, elderly people and things. And while I don't truly believe that there is a real benefit behind BBB, some people really do, hang their hat on like what the BBB says about you. So having that accreditation, behind the company, like it does go its distance with some people. Whereas others, I mean, if anybody's really truly done the research on Better Business Bureau, it is very much a pay to play sort of operation. And it's not a source of leads by any stretch of the imagination. I think we've gotten maybe 3 or 4 over the course of the past 3 years from it. So it's not anything crazy as far as that goes.
Where would you say you have the most success locally from like a lead generation standpoint?
So where I spend my most money is, I mean, it's going to be Google LSAs and Meta. I spend a lot of money every month on Meta, and it's been a great source of leads for us. But the absolute best leads that we get are the organic leads. And I think I think as the whole landscape of like your digital presence online really kind of shifts in things as, AI becomes more prominent and whatnot. I do think that there's a real need to really invest in having multiple locations that, you show up in the map pack for. And that's not something that SEO can really assist with. That's literally you having an actual physical presence somewhere and having good reviews for that physical location and being visible within like a certain radius around that particular office location that really makes you visible and whatnot. But I mean, best bang for buck in regard to it all. I mean, my leads through Meta are more cost effective than they are anywhere else, but the quality dwindles with Meta versus other sources. But if you have a really, really good local presence and SEO and things, people finding you and you not having to do anything more than maintain your actual online presence, like that is the absolute best source of leads and word of mouth and referrals and all that stuff. But I haven't really cracked the code on getting one of those out of every single customer that we do. If we did, we'd be at a totally different space right now.
Yeah, heard that. Heard that. Well, thank you guys for the questions popped into the Q&A here. We definitely love to answer questions live. It's much more fun than me coming up with things on my own. So thank you. Anything else you have, keep them rolling through. We do have like 15 more minutes left, so plenty of time to answer all your questions, big or small. All right. What is one habit you picked up in the trades that made you a better man outside of work? I know this is a hard one. So take a second for sure.
I know, right? I mean, I've learned more of like what not to do in the trades than I did like what to do in the trades. But like if I had to say what I did learn in this whole thing is, just going back to the circle that you keep. The people that you surround yourself with, I mean, you should be able to bounce ideas off of them and, really gain some insights in regard to what will help take you to that next level. And I mean, I learned a lot from a gentleman by the name of Ken Kelly. If anybody doesn't know who that is, he owned Kelly Roofing here in Florida, and the guy built like a super impressive business. And some of the things that he did, like we instituted into our business and things to provide deeper transparency to like every homeowner that we serve. And like one little tip that I picked up from him is, as you run into bad plywood, marking that with red spray paint, and numbering each sheet with that color and the number of sheets that you're actually replacing. And then as you go back and replace those, go back with green paint and show them the new ones and number the new ones with that correlating color. And that way, like whenever a customer gets hit with a change order, they're not scratching their head and be like, did you really do that? Like you have photo proof of it all. And it goes so much further than just taking photos and company cam and showing them like, here was bad wood, here's new wood. If you can actually put a number on top of that and show them like how many there were, it goes a long way. But job site presence, like you pick up different things from different people, but you want people in the neighborhood to know that you're there. And you want them to be able to drive by and be impressed by the way that you actually perform that project that you're actually there to perform. And it doesn't matter what it is. It doesn't matter if it's landscaping, power washing, like whatever. Keeping your job sites clean and tidy, and marketing, with marketing at the forefront, having yard flags out and yard signs and caution tape and all that fun stuff. Nobody else is doing that stuff. And you got to figure out everything you can to set yourself apart from the next guy that's going to come in, $1,000 cheaper than you.
Absolutely. That makes perfect sense. Looks like we have another one popped up in here. Being a brand new company, about 4 months in, on pace to finish the year at 2 million, but looking to scale between 6 and 10 million next year. What is your advice to help us scale and achieve that goal?
So you're at 2, you want to get to 6. I wonder when they actually started. Was it early in the year? Was it late in the year? But anyway,
I can give them the mic too if there is any inject. He'd like it. He prefer for Mike.
2 million ones. That's really, really awesome. So, honestly, I mean, I think you're doing all the right stuff, and I really don't think it's going to take much for you to kind of get to that 6 million level and beyond. But really, I mean, look at your processes, look at, look away from like what you're winning and like start to invest more time into what you're not winning and seeing like why you're not winning that business and things, right? Is it lack of communication? Is it, maybe they're picking a product over what you're offering them, and maybe you're not offering them enough options and things. Maybe adding upgrade options and things to what you're presenting to could be another way to kind of like step it up to the next revenue level and things, right? So down here, I mean, we do a couple of different upgrade options. We do warranty upgrades, we do underlayment upgrades, we do solar attic fans as upgrades, we do gutters as upgrades, and you don't you don't have to spend a lot of time on those upgrades, but you do at least want to provide that as an option on every single, proposal that you send out to somebody. Because it's another piece of revenue that maybe you're not really latching onto that, could help propel you to that level that you want to be at. Beyond that though, I mean, 2 million since August, like if you're on pace to get 2 million by August, like that's really, really solid. So I think you're doing a lot of things right. But look into like where you're missing, see where there's gaps in your processes and things. Like After somebody signs with you, do you start to lose any of those customers? Do you have any kind of fallout? If so, figure out where that gap is. Are you not following up enough? Do you not have the right cadence in your follow-ups where you're missing sales opportunities because you just weren't on top of them enough? If there were, fill in that gap. Are you responsive? Like, are you picking up the phone when they call? Are you responding to texts whenever they call or emails whenever they email? If you're not, figure out a way to tighten up that time frame in regard to when you do get back to them. But people appreciate communication. People appreciate the detail, the level of detail that you go into in regard to a big expensive project that you're presenting to them. And on top of that, I mean, you're not going to win every single customer, but if you can even move the needle a little bit in regard to closing just 1 or 2% more than what you were last year, like that's going to move the needle in the right direction for you as well.
I think that's great, Jon. Awesome question.
That all came from my dome. Like I'm just like, pow, pow, pow.
I couldn't believe that. That was
Amazing.
insane.
I know. And now all I'm thinking about is how hungry I am.
You should always come to the podcast, hungry, or to the show.
I know. Empty stomach equals good answers.
That's right. That's right. What do you think you're gonna have a snack with after? Any idea?
I'm still thinking about that apple girl.
Well, go get you one. You know, you got it. All right. If you guys have any more questions, feel free to drop them through. We do have about 6 minutes left. How do you teach the younger guys and your crew lessons that you had to learn the hard way? And that can be maybe something that you've just seen historically, or maybe something that you intend on instilling in them in the future.
I mean, the big thing is just if they're following the process that we have set in place, there's not going to be any kind of major issues or major hurdles to kind of get over, major mistakes or anything. Now, end of the day, construction is controlled chaos, and most of the issues that we do have to kind of find, a resolution for happen like as we're actually producing the job and things, right? So maybe an AC line is too close to the underside of the decking. Anything that can go wrong sometimes will find its way to go wrong. But as long as you are preparing them to succeed and not just like hand them an iPad and tell them, here, go sell, as long as they truly understand and know the process that you want them to follow, you can go back without even physically being there or hearing what they like, any of that stuff, and like actually see where the gap actually occurred and how that actually happened. And then you can kind of make right from that wrong. And, learning those lessons the hard way are sometimes the only ways to learn them, right? But as long as we're doing our jobs as owners and trainers and sales managers or whatever capacity you're in, you can really keep a lot of the major issues at bay. So just do your job in being a good sales manager or owner, and make sure that your people are equipped to know like what to look for, what to watch out for. Because end of the day, like things are going to happen. It's the way that you react and like resolve those issues that really kind of set you apart from others and things. So don't scold them, just tell them like, here's what you did and here's how you go avoid it next time. And then if they keep doing it, then they're paying for it.
I think we could all benefit from a mentor every now and then, So I like that you are able to kind of be that for your people. I think that's super cool. One more question popped in here. I have been trying to build relationships with realtors and insurance agents. Have you pursued this avenue? And if so, how was your success with it?
Realtors are a tricky little tricky thing. So like some of them are absolutely fantastic. They recommend us to everybody and anybody, and like if you if you give them a compelling reason to kind of work with you, like one of the big things that we do with realtors is, like some of the biggest issues that prevent you from getting with your potential home buyer to the closing table are roof issues, right? So if we can give them a way to kind of get those roof issues resolved in a really, really quick timeline, if we can present to them that like, hey, we accept cash at closing or payment at closing, um, giving them a way to actually pay for it or fund the project, like you kind of take away some of the barriers that would otherwise prevent others from working with you. But you have to be really careful with realtors because a lot of them will take advantage. And what I mean by that is like they'll have you quote something and then they'll go with the cheapest guy out there, or they'll have you look at something and then never get back to you, or they'll just have you write up quotes nonstop and then like never actually have anybody bite the bullet and, pull the trigger to actually work with you. Like you got to be careful with who you partner with. But that being said, if they are a really good resource for you, continue to pour into them. You'll be able to recognize really, really quickly, like who's a partner and who's just taking advantage. So let those guys taking advantage of you as a company, let them find somebody else to take advantage of, or direct them to an instant quote tool like Roofle.
Mm. I do see the benefit though. Like I could see in a perfect world, you have a decent relationship with a realtor. There could be a real referral, kind of a pipeline there that could be beneficial. And if you're doing bulk, maybe you work out some kind of special deal or something. I do see the benefit there, but absolutely. I think it's all about who you surround yourself with. And I think that's a great question to end this episode on, unless there's anything else that's going to be popping through here in the next little bit.
I got to take a quick flight up to Ohio and find out what the heck's going on with Mr. Scotty Poo. Got to make sure that we found that goat that ran off.
He texted me the goat has been retrieved and all is well. So I'm sure we're going to hear all about that next week at 4:30 at the next Roofer2Roofer episode. So for our participants, thank you as always. We really appreciate you guys coming on here and popping in your questions. We'll be right back at it next week, same time, same place, and very excited to have you. Thanks, Jon. You really held down the fort today.
See you guys.
Bye, guys.